Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch into this crazy show that we call the stock market. One of the biggest questions today is the bull market back? Because we see about $1.5 trillion being pumped back into the market in stocks in the overnight hours currently as we speak are continuing to see a lot of buying pressure. Stocks that we've been talking about, Palantir, Tesla, Nvidia, the broader indexes. We have a lot of details to uncover because we have some new headlines regarding the tariffs, possible negotiations with China, and what we're going to be seeing tomorrow could be very interesting. If you're new or a returning viewer, hit that like button and of course subscribe. It really helps the algorithm, and I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time out of your day to watch this channel. Now let's talk about Palantir first. What we've been talking about a lot on this channel recently, closing at market close at $93.99. We see up about 3.5% on the day. Continuing on here, Palantir currently is up about another 3 to 4% in the after hours, already back at $97. Quickly, just a quick little zoom out here. Palantir does have some resistance at the 100. We've seen that recently. If we continue to see bullishness into tomorrow's trading session, which I think is possible if these headlines continue to kind of roll out, and depending how much buying pressure is going to be coming into the market tomorrow with the momentum shift that we're seeing here that we'll talk about in a moment, I could easily see Palantir pass 100. Like I said, of course, that is just going to, occur in due time with what's going to happen, but I think that's entirely a possibility. Looking at Palantir and the reason why we're kind of seeing this resurgence, not a ton of things specifically happening within Palantir by itself, but a big headline that came out today is basically hopes that this whole trade war tension could possibly ease. And that's where we've seen a lot of volatility, why a lot of our big indexes are down year to date is due to this tariff, these trade wars, the negotiations, and the uncertainty behind these negotiations and how long they're going to last. Specifically with China. And at an investor summit today, you actually have the U.S. Treasury Secretary right here reportedly told attendees that the trade war with China was not sustainable and that he anticipates that the tariff situation will de-escalate. On the heels right here of the uncertain macroeconomic outlook and a deteriorating U.S.-China relations, we have a strong bullish reaction that's occurring next. And you can see here, I'm in a watcher group, we're talking about President Trump even says that tariffs on China will come down substantially and that he is not going to play hardball. So since they've raised these tariffs to hundreds of percent basically at each other, both the U.S. and China, kind of realizing that this is getting to an unsustainable point. Now, this is going to be possibly entering a negotiation type phase. And we're seeing a lot of these stocks that are rebounding at a quick rate. Palantir also, in terms of not just this rebound here, this volatility behind the individual stock, you have earnings that's going to be coming up here closing on May 5th. And Palantir is expected for sales to come in between 858 to 862 million for the period. And we have to remember that Palantir has been doing quite well in terms of, contract establishments. We just saw their $30 million deal with ICE on working on operating systems to help ICE carry out its missions and objectives. So you see that Palantir is still continuing these strong governmental ties, even with the concern of the reduction of the federal spending. I don't think Palantir is going to be affected. They're kind of an outlier in that situation because wherever the government is going to cut money, Palantir can fulfill that gap. Talking about the next big thing, Tesla earnings right here. Falling short, and we have some big pieces of information and headlines coming out from Elon Musk. Now, Tesla closes here at 237 at the market close, up about 4% of the day. And you can see right now in the after hours is at about 248 in the overnight hours on Robinhood, basically up about another 3 to 4%, even though we have earnings that come in pretty low. The thing though that saved it and why we're actually seeing Tesla pump right now in price, and typically we wouldn't see this with the uncertainty and kind of what investors were expecting, is that we have Elon Musk saying that his Department of Government Efficiency time is actually going to drop significantly Wow, a lot of big things and big statements being made right here. During this earnings call, he said that his time allocation specifically to Doge is going to drop significantly, and this has been spearheaded by Musk during the early days. We know that the Trump administration, where Tesla actually came in terms of its numbers, generated here 13.97 billion in this automotive revenue in the first 3 months. This is marking about a drop of nearly 20% from the same quarter last year, so missed by 20%. Why Tesla here is saved in terms of its price action, what we're seeing in terms of a reaction from the investors and institutional retail, is that Elon Musk said that he's basically going to be taking a lot of time away from Doge, and that means that he's probably going to be going back into Tesla, realizing right now that Tesla's been kind of bleeding, and there's been a lot of negative sentiment on Tesla. This energy, decreasing 9% right here in terms of its revenue compared to the first quarter. We see fewer vehicle deliveries in part due to the Model Y update, and contributed to the this is contributing to the drop of its total revenue, as well as a reduced vehicle average selling price due to the mix and sales incentives and many other factors. We've seen a lot of controversy around Tesla now, just because Elon Musk, has gone from more of a liberal side of things to more conservative. So the people that love Teslas, typically that were on the left, don't know how to react. But we've seen Tesla's being destroyed in crazy things here. So Elon Musk taking a little bit of time away maybe from Doge, focusing on this big company that he built. I don't blame him, and the investors seem to love this, trying to maybe bring some more fire behind Tesla, getting the company more under control. Now, talking about the other things that we have. Sorry, that audio popped up there. Something popped up on that article. We also have the Dow Jones right here in terms of the general market, jumping about 400 points after Trump says he doesn't plan to get rid of the Fed chief. So on top of the other good news that we've already seen, possible negotiations saying that the tariff fighting with China is unsustainable. You now have Trump coming out here, says he doesn't plan to get rid of Powell. There were some rumors talking about here on Monday, and basically statements calling the central bank leader a major loser. We see in the rallies coming here late in the overnight hours that he actually has no intention on firing Powell, whose term as Fed chair will end in May of 2026. So the broader market does fairly well. You can see right here, S&P 500 up about 2.5%, NASDAQ at 2.71%, Dow Jones up 2.6%. Seeing large swings in the market and a lot of green across the board. Just looking at the general markets down here, Apple doing really well, accumulating about 3.4%. Amazon tacking on another 3.5%. So you can see the broader markets. And like I said, I think this is going to continue into tomorrow because a lot of people have been waiting for some type of reversal, some type of statement, and some lead in the right direction regarding these tariff negotiations. Right here, we're going to see, I think, a de-escalation in this Trump trade war with China. Talking about here, the sustainability behind of it is just getting too high in terms of what it could possibly become. We also have that 90-day pause here on the reciprocal tariffs. A lot of these countries, they say, we've seen like Japan, other headlines coming to the table and possibly coming with some negotiation deals. So this is all great things for the U.S. economy. On top of that, how does Nvidia react to that? We talked about this yesterday. Nvidia is also doing quite well, back over $100, which is a major support zone for Nvidia, sitting right now at 102. Nvidia did a good job, closed that market close at 98.89. So you can see across the board here, stocks all doing well, kind of correlated with some of the big headlines that we are seeing right here. Nvidia took a little bit of heat because Huawei basically launched an AI chip to help fill Nvidia's void in terms of the demand that China is seeing for AI chips. But we'll see what's been happening, because in yesterday's video, we talked about the workarounds that NVIDIA has been kind of working on, different versions of like the Blackwell chip, different versions of previous AI chips, and how they try to still, have sales and offer different products to these different countries, even though the U.S. does not want them to. So what do you guys make of all this? Is the bull market back? Let me know down in the comments. Excited to hear or see here, some energy getting pumped back into the market. We'll see what happens. Peace out, take care, and hope everybody enjoys this wild ride no matter which direction it goes.